Okay, get this. What if I told you one of India's oldest, most established financial institutions just had the most explosive 5 years of its entire modern history? Well, today we're unpacking the public data behind BSE Limited's incredible financial transformation. And trust me, the numbers are absolutely staggering.
All right, let's dive right in. We're going to start with the single most jaw-dropping figure in this entire story because it really sets the stage for everything else that follows.
So here's the big question, right? This isn't some small startup we're talking about. This is a major stock exchange. How on earth is a leap of this size even possible?
And here are the raw numbers behind that question. I mean, just look at this chart. On the left, back in the second quarter of 2019, revenue from operations was just over 90 crore rupees. Now you fast forward 5 years to the same quarter, and boom, that number has absolutely exploded to over 659 crores. That's not just growth, that's more than a 7-fold jump. It's incredible.
Numbers like that are pretty stunning, but they don't mean much without context. So who exactly is the company that's pulling off this kind of incredible growth?
Well, if you look at their own official filings, the answer is actually really clear and focused. BSE operates in just one segment, stock exchange services. So this isn't a case of a company diversifying into a dozen new things. All this growth is coming from their core business.
And just so we're all on the same page here, this is a real apples-to-apples comparison. We're looking at the exact same 3-month window, that's July through September, just 5 years apart. No tricks, no funny business, just a crystal clear snapshot of the change over time.
But, as anyone in business will tell you, revenue is only one side of the coin. You got to spend money to make money, right? And when your income grows that fast, you can bet your spending is going to follow.
It's just a fundamental truth. I mean, to support that kind of expansion, you have to invest, and invest heavily. The real question is, how much did they actually have to spend, and where did all that money go?
And here's where the story gets even more impressive, if you ask me. While the revenue shot up 7-fold, the total expenses only grew by about 3-fold, from around 111 crore to nearly 380 crore. Now that gap, that's crucial. It shows fantastic operating leverage. It means they're getting way more bang for their buck, more revenue for every rupee they spend.
But just saying total expenses doesn't really tell us much, does it? The real story, the strategy behind all this growth, it's usually hidden in the details. So let's ask, what did they actually spend all that money on?
And this table right here tells a fascinating story. Back in 2019, you can see the big costs were admin and tech. Pretty standard stuff. But now, look at 2024. Whoa, 2 enormous new expenses have just appeared on the scene: clearing and settlement and regulatory contributions. These costs are directly tied to the huge increase in trading activity and new market segments. It shows that BSE isn't just bigger, its entire operational landscape has been completely transformed.
So we've seen this massive surge in revenue and a big, but clearly very strategic, increase in costs. Which, of course, brings us to the most important question of all. After everything was said and done, did they actually make any money? Was it profitable?
And the answer is a huge, emphatic yes. In the second quarter of 2019, BSE's profit before tax was sitting at 33.41 crore. 5 years later, it shot up to nearly 375 crore. That's more than a 10x increase in profitability. Just incredible.
But, total profit is only one piece of the puzzle. For an investor, what really matters is this: how much of that profit belongs to your single share of the company. That's what we're looking at next.
Okay, back in Q2 2019, this is where things stood. The basic earnings per share, or EPS, was 7 rupees and 51 paise. This is our starting point.
So, after all that incredible growth, the revenue, the smart spending, the massive profit, how did that actually impact the individual shareholder?
And here it is. This is the payoff. Today, that number is 20 rupees and 51 paise. The earning power behind every single share has almost tripled. This proves that the company's spectacular growth wasn't just some number on a spreadsheet. It created real, tangible value for its owners.
So let's just recap. In just 5 years, we've seen a legacy institution transform itself into a high-growth powerhouse. It managed its costs, it supercharged its profits, and it delivered huge value. The data tells a really clear story of the past, but it leaves us with one massive question for the future. Was this a once-in-a-generation surge, or is this just the beginning of a whole new era for BSE?